can't be better to have Vivek sir on our podcast. Thank you, sir. Thank you for coming to my Soho.
Thank you, Tushar.
It's a pleasure to see you, and your smile is very infectious. मतलब मजा आता है आपके साथ interact करने में, and it's so honorable for my Soho and me to have you on our
I'm very
podcast.
happy. This brand is doing very well. I'm very happy to be on your show.
Thank you, sir. So this podcast is a quick podcast, 30 minutes, 30 questions, and whatever comes to your heart, to your mind, we
Spontaneous
look for answers. So I'll start firing. First question, sir. In 2017, 9 years before you could have retired, you took VRS. What was that decision and what triggered you to do that?
So I was a speaker, and even in government, although एक विधान सभा का speaker होता है, लोक सभा का, not that one, motivational speaker, I became in government. So, but I couldn't do enough. वो लोग मुझे, they used to say that you have to come to work, you do this, you can't go to Hyderabad, you used to refuse your invitations. So I had to work in a system, and I wanted to be liberated that way. So I became a motivational speaker by resigning. I became an independent speaker, and I had no constraints now. That's why I resigned.
Sir, your father was an IPS.
Yes.
But you chose civil services.
Yes.
At any point of time you were inclined towards IPS?
Yeah, I was. So I was preparing for the UPSC exam, but he passed away. And I was given a choice of the police or the Haryana Civil Service. The Haryana Police Service, where I would have joined as a DSP and then got promoted to IPS. Here I joined as an HCS officer who got promoted to IAS later. My various mentors, elders, uncles, aunties, they all suggested that police nahi join karni, because your papa was in the police, so there may be some tensions with him, with senior officers, so they will take it out on you. I don't think that was true. But one plus point of the civil services over the police is the diversity is greater. So I can go from IT to agriculture to tourism to cooperation to industries to Zilla Parishad. In the police, I can have a lot of diversity, modernization, technology, law and order, crime, बहुत कुछ हो सकता है, protocol, security, but the diversity is less than the civil services.
Sir, आपके IAS के journey में, what do you feel was your biggest hit and one biggest miss?
I think the IT Park of Chandigarh was the biggest hit, and I was still not an IAS officer. I was still in the HCS. And when Dr. Manmohan Singh came to inaugurate it, Infosys was already there, other companies were coming. So I think it was a great success. Miss would be, I think we didn't do enough for Chandigarh tourism. I was doing my best to promote Chandigarh as a city where people should come and stay the night. Tourism is not about Pal Dhaba or lunch. I don't know whether we can name a commercial. Where somebody having lunch and going to Manali, that's not tourism. They need to stay the night. So in tourism, we count room nights. And Chandigarh was not doing enough. Even today may not be. So I was trying that. So we could have done much more. So that was a miss. One more hit I could add is e-Sampark, which we did in Chandigarh, where was e-governance contact centers. So my boss, Karan Avtar Singh ji, who was the Chief Secretary of Punjab later, he was Finance Secretary at that time of UT, he told me IT Park and e-governance are two of your mandates. So both we were able to succeed.
My next actually question was the same thing. Ki Chandigarh, you have been in tourism, you have been in education. Chandigarh today also lacks the same thing. आज भी चंडीगढ़ एक stopover city है. People moving to Himachal, to J&K, to Amritsar. Chandigarh एक stopover है. Why, again, same question, but why do you feel, or what should be needed to make Chandigarh, because Chandigarh एक इतना important town है for India. It's one of the best planned cities. Whoever comes to Chandigarh really enjoys staying here. What are we missing in our DNA कि हम इसको popularize नहीं कर पाते?
I think it's a complex situation that way. Answer इसका complex बनता है because Chandigarh was a capital city, originally envisaged as a bureaucratic government city. We did not have business here, or we weren't to have business here. But business happened. People like you, me are not original generation of Chandigarh. So our parents or even grandparents were there at that time when Chandigarh came up. So we were not to be in that government mold. I mean, I came into the government, you didn't come into the government, right? So the third generation, fourth generation, they can have any aspiration. Chandigarh was not to be a government city forever. So business, IT, tourism, industry, commercial activity, finance has to be there. I think Chandigarh lacks that. So even now, if a person really does well in studies, architecture, engineering, medicine, he or she at some stage may want to go out of Chandigarh for getting a better job. So I wrote an article called The Chandigarh Dilemma, which is if you're from Chandigarh at the age of 30, 32, 33, 34, 36, you will have to leave Chandigarh for a better career opportunity and leave the quality of life and your parents here and go. And then maybe not come back, or maybe come back after 30 years. So that dilemma continues, and Chandigarh has not reached that level, but whatever you others did, it has definitely improved from before. And if you look at something like Tycoon, you look at the kinds of sports, commercial, government activities which happen, it is better than before in terms of being an important city, of economic activity, of industrial activity, but still not enough. Yeah.
Let's come to the IT park. It has been one of the best, visions which you have delivered to this town. But at this point in 2024, Mohali is way ahead. Why has Chandigarh not been able to utilize its first mover advantage?
I think there's a different setup in Chandigarh, which is a union territory setup, and space is a constraint. So if you look at Panchkula or Mohali, the space is not really a constraint. Panchkula can still expand towards Barwala, Ramgarh, Raipur Rani, Narayangarh. I've been posted in these areas. Mohali can expand towards Kharad, Ropad, etc., or even Patiala this side, or wherever, Sangrur, etc. So there is no constraint of space, number one. Number two, decision making in Punjab and Haryana is at the level of the Chief Minister. Decision making in Chandigarh is often at the level of the Government of India, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, the Finance Minister. So Chandigarh is run by officers. They don't take decisions. So they take decisions at their own level, but they can't take decisions of a beyond level. If they had a Chief Minister of Chandigarh, it might have been better. But we don't have that setup. We have an MP, but the MP is not an executive position.
Right.
And the Governor of Punjab, who's the administrator of Chandigarh, also has his jurisdiction. Can't go beyond that. So I think that is why Mohali has probably picked up better. But let me say that there was a time when if Chandigarh had not done what it did, whatever limited capacity, IT park, etc., then Mohali and Panchkula also may not have come up in that level.
I completely agree.
Right. Whatever we did was enough to generate that momentum.
जो आपका विजन था IT पार्क के लिए, do you feel वो 100% execute हो गया था आपके टाइम पे?
I think 40 to 50% हुआ है. I wouldn't say 100% हुआ है. I think we aimed at about 20,000 jobs, which we got. There were about 25,000, I think, now, which is a lot. But at that time, 20,000 seemed a lot. Now I would say it should be 50,000. But I think the third phase didn't come up. The first two phases came up, and very happy to see that it's a throbbing area. It has helped the city to get in people from Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad would never come to Chandigarh otherwise. But now they're working here. You sit at a restaurant, the next table is occupied by a Bengali family. Much more cosmopolitan than before because of the IT park. But yes, it could have been more and better. However, Chandigarh has, as I said, a space lock. So the table is limited in its area. I can't go out of this table over here.
And we can't neither rise too
Now
much.
we can't rise because of the Corbusier thing. And even otherwise, it's not right to have 24-story buildings in Chandigarh, in my view.
So my actually next question, which you've already covered, was that how much time usually it takes for solutions to be implemented in Chandigarh? How does bureaucracy and politics really affect? Suppose आपका एक vision है और आप उसको implement करना चाहते हो. How hard or how easy?
So I'll say it's a very balanced answer that I'll give. Normalcy में Chandigarh is better than states in decision making. Normal decisions. You go to an office and your work should be done. The police, if it has to take some decision, it will take it. If the SDM or the DC or the MD, SITCO or anybody has to do it, they'll be able to do it in their own jurisdiction, as I said. If you have to take any major decisions, then it would be more easy in a state than in Chandigarh. So as I said, beyond a point, that decision making is not permitted here. So I would say if Punjab wants to set up a new IT park in Ludhiana today, whose approval do they need? They don't need. The cabinet of Punjab will take that decision. Chandigarh can't do that and say that Sector 49 will now be a new IT park. Can't do. Goes to MHA, goes to that. So that way, decision making at a normal level, efficiency may be greater in Chandigarh. Actually, if you look at it, there may be problems in states where people suffer more. They don't suffer that much here. There is more transparency that way. But at major decision making level, states are better off.
तो मैं इसको ऐसे समझ सकता हूँ, decisions चाहे slow हो, but they are more efficient.
Chandigarh is a more efficient governance model. But Chandigarh bureaucrats, Chandigarh administration cannot take far-reaching decisions without the Government of India's consent. And for Government of India, if you look at Chandigarh, it's a small little thing. The whole country is to be run. So priorities can't be that high.
Understand. So when you left civil service and आप independently mentor बने, what is that change which you witnessed as a civilian? I'm sure
I think I got a practice of it when I took a sabbatical. So I don't know whether you're aware. So I took 2 years off from the government. I worked for KPMG and PwC.
That is news.
Yes. So I was allowed by the government of Haryana to go out. I got experience there. I realized that a corporate job is also not for me, because there it was very corporate efficient, no doubt. But then revenue was the key. Profit and loss is the thing. And I was not made that way. So I realized after taking that sabbatical that I'm back to the government, I'm better off here, and that larger perspective is there. But then again, after 7 years or 8 years, or rather 9 years later, I resigned in 2017, as you said, I became more creative. That was a different perspective. So again, the corporate job was not something I'm looking for. Even today, you tell me any job, IAS is the best job in the country, why would I leave that and join another job? So I was very happy there. But then I wanted to do more beyond jobs. So I think that's why.
I think एक चीज तो बहुत ही evident है with your talks that you are very sure-footed in your decision.
Sure-footed. I have to be, as a cricketer, I played cricket, so you have to be sure-footed.
So do you miss any perks?
So this is a very interesting point. You did ask about the transition. So, in that sabbatical, I got a taste of what it is to be outside. And one good thing about my career has been that I've always been driving my own car. And I would leave the driver at 5:30 or 6 and not keeping for that shadi mein jana hai, ma'am ne aur maine, so I'm not keeping the driver. So the driver can go home. So I wouldn't take the driver to that. I will take firstly, my wife and I, how much time do we get to talk to each other? So if my driver is there, then obviously, when we are going 30 minutes, you're talking. Walking and talking and driving and talking go together. So that was there. So that did not affect me. Then I think goodwill is very important. If you have goodwill, then you pick up the phone, right? Just before this podcast recording, I picked up the phone and talked to a government functionary from my car while driving on the car phone. And I told him 3 things. That nahi hua, you have to do this. So he says, bilkul ho jayega. And I left 7 years ago. So goodwill continues. So I don't think I miss anything, because the other thing is that you have a tag. And that tag is still there of the 3 letters. So luckily it's a 3-letter word, not a 4-letter word.
How nice. How nice. If given a choice, if the, दुनिया में और कुछ भी हो सकता है. If given a choice, would you want to serve again as an IAS?
I think so, because I had that wish and desire to serve the society. My children now, and you look at the children of this generation, the youngest generation, Gen Z, they want to serve the society as well, and they have other avenues which I didn't have, or maybe you also didn't have. So there is CSR funding, projects in NGOs, which they are doing, and they're happy in that. Both my daughters, in a way, are in that kind of work. I could not have done that, so government became the natural work for me, government work. Yes, I would again join the government. I'm very enamored by the defense services now, more than I was before. Somehow I've had more occasion to talk to army officers, Air Force, Navy officers. I think I wouldn't have minded a career in the defense services, actually.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I would love that. I would love that, yeah.
So do you want to share any 2 or 3 names, people who you admire in the bureaucracy?
In the bureaucracy, I mentioned Mr. Karan Avtar Singh. He's been my favorite boss, and he has lunch with me once in a while now. And there's a Professor Rajneesh Waters, who's a friend, senior person, former College of Architecture principal. And Mr. Lalit Sharma used to be our advisor of Chandigarh. So these are very favorite people. Many of my father's colleagues, definitely from the police. And Mrs. Vinita Rai used to be our advisor. Then in Haryana, I've had so many very favorite officers. My first boss was Mr. T.R. Sharma. He was DC Ambala. And I was SDM Kalka. So yeah, good memories. And those whom I haven't named are also very good. So that in government we cover all the bases, you know. So nobody can tell me later that तुमने मेरा नाम नहीं लिया.
No, fair enough, sir.
Not that they're going to watch it. They'll see a little bit and they'll say, ठीक है.
Sir, as a keynote speaker, you've done TEDx a couple of times.
Yeah.
And you've got 8 million views on few.
More than a couple now. I've done about 14.
14, oh. So, sir, आपके जो talks है ना, they are about mentoring, guiding, motivation. Why and how do you feel that आज के जो हमारी generation है और जो upcoming है, half my age and you know much younger to even what, तो उनको क्या चाहिए? Why do they need that direction?
So these guys are overthinking.
Wow.
And that overthinking is something which is impeding their progress. So, and technology is lending that, leading them to overthinking. So when you have no gadget in your hand, you're looking at the stars. You are sitting at night. If you don't have television, what are you going to do? You will talk to people, right? You have no other gadget. In childhood, at times the power cuts used to be there. But what will you do at that time? You can either, sleep, or you can just talk to someone, or you can listen to stories. So conversations have become less because of social media, because of technology. Overthinking has become more. Comparison has become more. Instagram is like everything there is feel good.
Yeah.
Right? So it's a feel good place. So that feel good means I compare myself. Why have I not got this? Why does this person look? Why does he still look like this? Or why is this personality like that? Or why is she like that? So I think comparison is overkilling them. Overthinking is happening. So I tell them 5 things if I can quickly share. I tell them physical fitness is important to reduce your overthinking. Run, play, cricket, football, running. Gym is okay, but outdoor is very important. Number 2 is meditation. Start at a young age. The more you meditate, the less you will overthink. You might think that meditation leads to overthinking, but ultimately it helps. Ultimately. And it's a spiritual quest. Number 3 is creativity. Art, music. So in my talks, I talk about this. How you have to be multi-dimensional. You're doing podcasts. It's a creative activity. Nobody, doctor ने नहीं बोला कि podcast करो.
Right.
And as far as I know, it's not a commercial objective. So brand building may be there. You may be creating a brand, which is also important. Number 4 is conversations. As I said, talking, listening, writing. So the more you communicate, the less you will be stressed out. And number 5 is books.
Reading.
The more you read books, the less you watch reels. The more you read, you will be calming your mind. Reels are stressing your mind. How much can you watch? So I went to IIT Madras, they're watching reels. So I said, you guys are college number 1 in India, NIRF ranked number 1, and you are watching reels for 4 hours. How can you survive?
4 hours, that's
big problem. So this is what I wrote a piece called India is Reeling Under Reels. And the world is reeling under reels.
I agree.
Yeah.
So you are associated with Shalini. Why do you feel that, how is that university different from other universities, and what did you notice about the students and that culture?
I think firstly it's a very good looking campus, and good looking not only because it's in the hills, it's got a beautiful ambience. I mean, you stay there for a night, and I mean it's like awesome, it's like a resort. Secondly, the very good looking people there from Himachal, so they're walking around, it's a feel good kind of thing. Plus they're very pure. So see, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, I remember as a young officer, or even as maybe I was a college student, I was in the bus stop or something in Delhi once, catching a bus to Gurgaon or something, a student, and this little boy was there. He says, I was asking some questions to them, ye jayegi bus nahi jayegi. This 10-year-old, he says, Saab, ye Delhi hai, He said, Delhi है बड़ा मुश्किल समझना होता है. I knew Delhi, but he thought I'm from somewhere.
Outside.
So like, so Delhi and all are very complicated places to grow up. Whereas Himachal, I tell people, my wife is from Himachal. So I tell people that Himachal people are still cool. They will sit in the sun. They won't look at their gadgets for a while. And they're probably the coolest people in many ways in the world. But so Shulini has that plus point. Plus people who come from other places. And plus I think one plus point about Shulini we can talk because we are associated with it. I am an advisor there. So Dr. Khosla, who's the founder, he's an academician. He's not a business person who set up a university for a lark and got somebody ke tum chalao and I will run. I have the money. You have the expertise. So he's the one who founded it. I think that makes a difference. So that's the plus point.
That's a plus point.
Yeah.
So obviously, you have been an advisor. That means you have given many talks to students. What are the few things जब आप देखते हो students को आज की date में? What makes you proud when you see them, and what makes you scared once you see them? Obviously, reel is one of them. But ऐसा कोई चीज आपने notice किया which is not in the right way?
What I feel proud about is the confidence levels. Although they're still lacking in many of them. As I said, conversations used to be more. Before pandemic, conversations were easier. Now they become too screen oriented. But I think they're confident and they're a little more. Actually, they're empathetic to society compared to before. I'll tell you why. I was in a generation where my job was important. My service was important. I couldn't think of helping the poor at that time. We were service families. We couldn't think. Now these kids, they do spend time in NGOs. They do spend time with other animals. So these empathies were not with us. Animal empathy was not in my generation at least. Now it is there. So I think that is improved. What I worry about is that overthinking, comparison, and that I shouldn't use this word, but depression. And depression is something which is serious. Loneliness, serious. They don't talk enough. Parents don't talk to their kids. Kids don't talk to their parents. Who's going to talk? So I think parents and kids have to be patient with each other. If a decision is to be taken, they have to talk about it. They can't take a decision in one day. There's no use slamming the door and throwing the whatever and walking out of the room. Baat karo. And relationships also, it's the same.
Yeah. It's built on conversations.
It's built on conversations and listening to each other. And nobody's perfect. So we have to listen patiently. And it helps if you, that's it.
So you have a beautiful initiative called Vibrant Forum.
Oh yes.
What is it about?
So it's a people's forum. It's a networking forum. We have diversity. So somebody was asking me, can you compare it with CII, ASSOCHAM, etc.? I said no. It's a social forum. But it also helps youngsters to meet people who are a little well-off and successful in various fields. So we'll have artists, we'll have musicians, we'll have police officers, you'll have entrepreneurs, you'll have academicians, you'll have government people, you'll have homemakers and youngsters. So everybody's. So the thing about Vibrant is that we have diversity. We have people from architecture coming in, people from music coming in, from founders of startups coming in, and we also have speakers who talk about government or police or sensitive issues. We've had something called Unspoken with Novel Bunch. Novel Bunch is a literary group which has also been set up by friends. And in that Unspoken, they touch on taboo subjects like incest and molestation and things. And it was very important to discuss these things. So I think Vibrant gives a diverse platform to people to talk and meet and grow. So it's been now 7 years. And since I resigned, it started that time.
So how does that function, sir? कैसे उसमें आप लोग members कैसे बनते हैं? As a member, how does that entire?
So about 10 events per year, 10 to 12 events per year. Like for example, we have an education summit coming. They'll be awarding 5 people from outstanding institutions. IPN is an Indian Principals Network which is collaborating. So that's on the 9th of November. Then December we have something with reciprocity in Delhi. Vibrant Forum Reciprocity Awards as well as networking. So 2 speakers. We also have a concept of hot seat, cool seat. So in this podcast, for example, I'm on the hot seat, you're on the cool seat. You're asking the questions and I'm answering them.
Right.
So there we have them on stage. And for 10 minutes. like you said, rapid fire. So 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 minutes. So 5 different pairs will go, and people get, from Miss India to DGP, different things coming. So not that Miss India can't be DGP or DGP can't be Miss India. That's a joke, but wo hai. So they have these rapid fire conversations followed by networking cocktails or lunch.
So very interesting. Sir.
It's a paid membership model.
So Vibrant, actually now I understand it's about diversity and inclusion and learning.
And Chandigarh this area lacked that exposure. So we used to say that it's a dull city, sleeps early. Today I think we also have a discussion forum, discussion group, which discusses one topic every month or something. Vibrant Forum is there. Novel Bunch is a literary one. CLS, Chandigarh Literary Society. So these are good things happening.
Do you have a bigger vision या कोई a bigger plan for Vibrant?
Vibrant has also started something called Vibrant Plus. So the bigger plan is that high-end events with fewer people, one-to-one networking, growing, mentoring. So not that we plan to expand it to other cities, but yes, Delhi we have started venturing. We've had some success there. Also, Vibrant is also advising some embassies on relations with the industry, trade, advisory, etc. So Vibrant has also done that.
Oh, nice, sir. Have you ever thought in your career, Abhi, कि you want to start any brand or a label or a service, Vibrant aside, but anything else?
No, I think I'm building my own brand at the moment. So I had a talk on LinkedIn Local. There's a LinkedIn Local concept, building your personal brand. So my aim is to get my message of this, avoiding overthinking one topic, right? There could be emotional intelligence, interpersonal relations, leadership skills, then public speaking skills, how you speak on the stage and how you speak on the camera. So all these things I want to get my message across to more and more people. So right now I'm focused on building my own brand, and then Vibrant, and we also have something called Suvichar, a think tank, with General Malik is the chairman, I'm a coordinator. Then we have I'm also part of an IAS academy where I'm mentoring people who are preparing for the IAS. So I jokingly say that I can mentor people on leaving the IAS as well as trying to join the IAS. Dono options available. So but my brand, my views, number of likes or followers or whatever helps the organization.
Yes.
I personally believe that your organization and you should be building on each other. Yeah.
Sir, now coming to a family. When you left your service, तो obviously family में reactions होते हैं.
बहुत होते हैं.
वो address करने
बहुत मुश्किल होते हैं.
हाँ. तो how do you manage expectations घर की?
That time it was very difficult. One of my uncles, he says, Vivek, तुम क्या कर रहे हो? क्यों छोड़ रहे हो? This that. मेरे कामों का क्या होगा? So I said, चाचा जी, आपके काम तो मैं ही कराऊंगा. I will help you in your things later also. And that's my guarantee. He said, how will you do it? I said, that you leave to me. So now after 9 years, 7 years, he's quite happy with me. I don't know why I'm going on saying 9 years. It's 2017 to 2024, 7 years. So he's like, Vivek, now he's Gaga. तुम्हारी तो और भी चलती है. So, but my immediate family, obviously, actually I took 4 years to decide. 4 years. And that 4 years I had long conversations, and then I decided, okay, they agreed with me. You see a person has to be flowering from within. When you're in a compulsion kind of situation, then you can't be flowering. There are constraints at times. You want to be in Los Angeles, but you're in Panchkula. So you have to be, you have to accept that. But there are certain things you can do which you should do.
Sir, we are all humans. So
thankfully we are human. You never know, we might have D2s, R2 sitting next to us after a while.
Maybe कुछ सालों बाद. तो हमारे अंदर ना emotions होते हैं. And we are driven by emotions. तो हर बंदे का एक तरीका होता है to manage them, and probably a तरीका to vent out.
Yeah.
How do you cope up with that?
This might sound hackneyed, but I'm a great sports lover. I have founded a group called Glorious Cricket. These days, cricket is all over the place and it's unstoppable. And the problem is they're killing the goose, right? Because there's too much of it. So every day that conversation on that group is detailed. I am one of the people in it. Why did Rohit Sharma play that shot? Why did we lose it? Why was the pitch like this? Why was that? So that is one venting out. The other is actually physical exercise. So playing some, I do play cricket. I go for running and walking and stuff. So that is another. Then, as I said, conversations. So spend time talking and people. So that also helps. And then, travel. Travel also, I must say, now I travel for my work. So sometimes you travel for vacation also. So that helps too.
So when we talk about managing now, we realized in our journey, जब हमने offices बनाने शुरू किए, we realized that how people started reciprocating to us कि आपकी वजह से हमारा office admin, office facilities, आपने वो सारा manage कर लिया.
ठीक.
And then people started focusing more on their business, on their teams, on their brand. So ये we realized in the last 4 years that how important today, and especially after COVID, that how corporates want people like us to manage their offices.
Right.
So, you have come here and there have been a couple of events also जो आपने यहाँ पे host किए.
Yes, vibrant event also.
Right. So, this is what, I would just love to, tell our audience that managing an office was never a thought earlier. But how today managing emotions, managing offices, managing day-to-day life can bring ease into some people's businesses.
I'm very impressed with the brand, that My Soho brand. You said that you've now opened 22 locations.
Yeah.
So that's fantastic. And I think you're right. It is a specialized role that you're playing.
Right.
Which people can then, siphon off to you and outsource that. So they focus on the core competencies, as you're rightly saying. And that is something. So it's a specialized role. I remember an IAS officer who resigned much before me. His name is Mr. Vivek Atray of IAS Karnataka, Bangalore. He started a secretarial service for US clients. A lady sitting in Bangalore is the PS to a CEO in the US. They didn't have this kind of concept. They would do everything themselves. This lady is helping that CEO, emailing, coordinating his flight tickets, this, that. He had 100 of them. And he had clients all over the world. It's a great idea.
Absolutely.
And this was 15 years ago. So, you specialize in a certain area, you let that person focus on his competence. So I think it's a great idea. What you have done is something very remarkable that way. I have seen your growth as well. 4 years, not a long time. How many years now?
4 years.
So 4 years, not a long time.
We started in 2020.
2020 was when COVID came.
Yeah, just before COVID.
Just before that, yeah, fantastic. And this podcast also seems to be doing well.
So describe your daily routine.
I wanted to, because meditation I haven't talked about enough. So meditation is 2 hours of my day. 1 in the morning, 1 in the evening.
Wow.
I will go back and meditate after this. And meditation is something which grew into me in 2008 or something. I started doing more. And I have evolved a little bit more. My wife Nina does much more meditation than I do. And perhaps deeper, though I can't say for that. But I sit and I meditate and I try to go deep within. So I think the spiritual quest is very important. Whichever religion you follow, you must meditate. And it could be Christianity, Islam, Sikhism, Hinduism, anything. So prayer is something which is talking to God. Meditation is receiving what God is trying to say to you. So you're trying to switch off your faculties from the senses and you're going. So this is an important part of my routine. And before meditation, there are some yogic exercises which we do. We follow the teaching of Paramahansa Yogananda, who is the author of Autobiography of a Yogi. And I follow Yogoda Satsang Society's teachings. Lessons come in printed form, then you learn how to meditate. So you can't just sit and try to switch off all the thoughts. You will think of Golgappas and cricket and whatever. So you have to do something in meditation which helps you to. The second part of my routine is definitely my work, which is traveling to speak. So very humbly, I must say I have at least 1 or 2 talks per day, or 1 or 2 sessions per day. Maybe only Sunday also sometimes happens, but 6 days a week I'm working. The third could be that family time and that physical fitness time. So that also is part of my routine. And I do spend a lot of time on my phone, which I don't want to. So I'm trying to reduce that routine. So I decided I'll give you a tip, all of you watching. Somebody told me that you must avoid and have only a certain time. So at the clock, 12, 1, 2, 3 p.m., you check your phone for a while and
Hmm.
then you put it away and don't check it again till the next hour.
Hmm.
So if you can try that, unless you're working on it,
Hmm.
it is something which might work. So, every 1 hour you check your Instagram or your WhatsApp, otherwise every minute you're checking.
Hmm.
And how many reels can you watch, as I said?
Hmm.
So try and get away from that. Yeah. So that's my routine.
So मैंने पता क्या किया sir? I've learned a simple hack also. My phone is always on silent.
Yeah.
And on the table. So chances हैं कि मैं miss कर दूंगा. तो उससे मेरा half हो गया time.
Half हो गया, very good.
And
but you haven't had any crisis because of that.
No.
Great.
No, never.
Somebody or the other will always
Absolutely.
find you.
Absolutely.
ढूंढना है उसको.
Absolutely.
ये मैंने भी देख लिया कि जितना हम अपने आप को important समझते हैं
वो
उतना
है.
हम है नहीं. And Socrates said, I always say this, beware the barrenness of a busy life. बंजर है वो, barren है. So don't get too busy. Get busy raising the level of your consciousness.
That's very powerful. My last question to you, sir, for today. What is your biggest insecurity or fear?
We always worry about losing our loved ones. There's no doubt. It's a normal thing to say, but that is obviously it. And the second is losing the test series in Australia.
Wow.
जो कि आने वाली.
What a beautiful way to, end the podcast. Let's vote for India.
Yeah, and my biggest goal also, I must say, is that, basically be an example for others and try and inspire others.
That is how you built your goodwill, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming to my show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
Lovely.
so much.
Great conversation.
Thank you so much.